So this guy just passed me. He said, Goggins, just be average today. Some of you just don't understand. Some of you been average for so damn long, you don't know what it is to do hard work.
You know, there comes a day, man. Everyone's gonna have this day. There comes a day where being average, being mediocre is just sickening to you.
I don't apologize. In the end, I don't care whether you love me or you hate me, just as long as I win.
Quitting. You'll regret it for the rest of your life.
It just got too hard.
It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great.
I'd like to let you in on a very important secret I learned when I was about your age, boy. You see, power, real power, doesn't come to those who were born strongest, or fastest, or smartest. No, it comes to those who will do anything to achieve it.
Caring only makes you weak. They think you care, they'll walk all over you.
This is a mindset. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But there's a out there who wants what you have, who wants the position you are, who wants the job you have, who wants the wife that you have, or the husband. There's someone out there hungry and wants everything you have. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But if it is, it's gonna be your ass.
There comes a day where push comes to shove, where being mediocre, being like average and burns and sucks so much. You can't deal with it one more day, and you get off your ass and you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it because there's too much pain and commitment.
That was impressive. Well, Stephen, I didn't beat him to impress you. I beat him because that's what I do. I don't follow orders. I don't bend a knee. I win.
Yo could be rich. You could be rich, man. But you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. You gotta take the stairs. Y'all gotta start getting gritty, man.
If you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the is in front of you.
Some people it's attractive and they go, I want to do that too. Like you seem pretty happy despite all the stress you're under. Like, how are you doing that? And I'll tell people that because I create my own bull and my own way harder than whatever I'm facing in the world, and that's how I mitigate the stress of success and pressure and criticism and all that stuff. Like, I do to myself way worse than they're ever going to do to me. So that's how I mitigate it. Also,
I'm alone and look at me. There's nobody around me. Nobody likes me, man. It is what it is. Sometimes in life, people are not going to be around you to motivate you. They're not going to be around you to push you, to celebrate you, to applaud you. You got to do it on your own. That's what I'm doing right now.
I will not be outworked, right? Period. Yeah. You know, you might have more talent than me. You might be smarter than me. You might be sexier than me. You might be all of those things. You got it on me in 9 categories. But if we get on the treadmill together, right? There's 2 things. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. It's really that simple.
Eagles fly alone. I have no friends. Friends are problems. Friends are challenges. If you aren't into yourself, and that means something else now than what I mean. If you're not into yourself enough that you can't spend the weekend by yourself, then something's wrong with you. Vis-a-vis self-esteem, being a high-performance person, and accomplishing high-performance acts, something's wrong with you.
Every morning I lose. I lose sweat, I lose time, I lose peace. I lose sweat, I lose time, I lose sight. I lose sweat. I lose time. I lose track. And I lose. Drop after drop after drop after drop. Going the distance. Losing. So I know I always win.
My name is Kobe Bryant. I'm 17 years old. I wasn't invited to parties or friendly gatherings on the weekend. So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go in my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because during those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, and the desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be.
He said, you know the difference between champions and everyone else? And I was like, what? He said, everyone always looks at them and says, what do champions have that I don't have? And he said, they have it backwards. He said, it's what do champions not have that I have? It's what do they lack? And it's an off button. They just don't stop. And so in dealing with the gold medals, he's like, they just never stop. They just can't stop. Everything in their life is geared towards one goal. And so finding that thing, and they approach everything in their life that way. And I think that level of obsession around like everything that you touch on a daily basis is required for really getting to where you want to go.
You should have stopped this one with your father. I'm stopping this one now.
Don't, okay? Let me finish. I gotta prove it.
Prove what?
I'm not a mistake.
You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm gonna go for it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're all gonna die one day.
Yeah, it's true.
So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. Go for it.
Is that when it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
Greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who persistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up. So, just a mentality, really.
In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself. And after what you've gone through, if you haven't done that by now, it ain't gonna never happen.
I woke up. Everybody else is because I woke up. That's how I look at it. You all had a chance until I woke up. Today's mine. That's just what it is.
There's a payoff for bad eventually. There's a payoff. It can't be bad, but for so long. If you got the strength and the understanding to realize that, it will change. It will change. It's impossible.
Imagine that you're in a movie, and imagine the movie begins now, and you're the hero of the movie. What would that guy do? What would that guy do right now?
Yeah.
Because you are. The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition, it's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
It's like, sometimes you have to realize, this is it. It's happening now, And this moment decides the longevity of this whole thing. So, some mornings you gotta wake up and be like, this is my thing, not anyone else's. No one can talk to me.
If everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person.
Champions do daily what everybody do occasionally. Everybody else does. You just do it daily. You're not.
Yeah, we do.
You're not extraordinary. You just do the ordinary extra. That's it. You. That's what makes you, separates you.
Everybody's great when they're not tired. The champions is when they tired, that's when the real champions come out. That's when that real dog come out. Because if you go piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat. Let them on the field. Have some heart.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Sometimes all you need is 20 seconds.
of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
But the truth is, I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm as inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Viola Davis as I am by Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there.
You're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. But you can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing. What are you passionate about? What do you want? So what do you really want to do?
I compete because I want to win. I love winning. I love being the best in the world. I've sat many times trying to find the balance of what I want within all this. If I was losing, I wouldn't be competing. I'm here to win. And it is what it is. I love what I do, but at this point it's taken away a lot that I just really love winning more than I dislike the work.
Success is this, and training and struggling and suffer and sacrifice, and then success is this. But this tastes so much more than this. Yeah. But I'm not sure that people today are 100% aware of what it means.
The problems in your life are your own dang fault. And so the answer into fixing the problems in your life are in your own dang hands. The responsibility for the well-being of your family, your wife, your husband, your children are yours. Are yours.
It was life and death. Either you live or you die. Which one do you want, Tom? That was the decision. In the corporate life and in the gym. But if you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something. I'll repeat that. If you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something, not even yourself.
I calm my body. I calm my mind through calming my body, and I calm my body through work. I make it work, and I make myself do things that are very uncomfortable, that I don't want to do. And by doing that, I develop this strength and perseverance. And some people hear that and like, I don't even want to do that. I don't take a nap. You're exhausting me. They're like, I'm not you. I don't want to do that. And they just like, it takes them away from that. And I'm like, you don't even have to do that. Mm-hmm. Just go for a walk every day. It sounds like it's easy to do, but when that walk comes and look at your clock, oh, it's 8 o'clock, time to go for that walk. You're like, I don't want to walk. I would just rather play video games. I don't want to walk. I'd rather like read emails. I don't want to walk. I'd rather like scroll through TikTok. But if you just force yourself to go for that walk every day, you will develop mental perseverance. You will develop some tenacity. You'll develop the ability to force yourself into work. And it doesn't have to be grueling. It just has to be a thing that you have to do.
And you might have 9 failures. I felt my first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9. As in the first one, spent time, failed. Second one, this one will be different, failed. Third one, this is the one. And then 6 more after that, right? I'm just painting this picture because like, it's painful as shit because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today. But not forever.
Michael Jordan tells me one day he wants to be the best player that's ever played here. And I said, well, you got to work harder than you did in high school. He said, I worked as hard as everybody else. I said, oh, excuse me. I thought you just told me you want to be the best player to ever play here. He said, I'm going to show you. Nobody will ever work as hard as I work.
And after the game is over, I'm like, I have to ask this guy. Like, I have to understand, like, why he works like that. Right. So after the game is over, I'm like, hey, Kobe, like, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in. and I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you.
Wow. People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're gonna give up.
You just gotta weather it and keep on walking and don't flinch. Don't let them know they got you.
Don't let them know they got you. You just got to keep on going, no matter what the day is, no matter what the move is. Keep going. God gave us everything to point forward, to go forward. And what we doing at a standstill, or stepping back, because we don't do that. We keep on walking, regardless of what they say, what they think, and how they feel. That's what angers do, that they can't affect us.
The bad days create the story that I'm one day going to tell myself about what I got through. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without the bad days, the story would be way more lame. There would be no glory in overcoming anything, because what did you overcome? It was all just 40 to 60, vanilla ice cream mush, gray, existence.
Yeah.
The thing is with me is I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a when anybody says or what anybody thinks. I have this mindset. I know exactly who the I am. I have my circle of people that I hang around with who know me and know what I'm about and whatever. And anybody else who doesn't like it or doesn't want to, bad. Okay.
It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. I was the same way. And that used to hurt me growing up. Now I thrive in that shit. That's the only place to be.
The confidence comes from preparation. So when the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before, right? So when I prepare, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing, right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before, so it's one more time.
And my personal question to you is, why not you? You've got the brains, you can make decisions, you can study the plan, you can change your life, you can grow immensely in the next few years, you can make your dreams come true, you can build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through, you can become healthy, you can become powerful. Why not you?
To get anything of value, you have to sacrifice.
I know that, Dad, but I think if we continue down this road, it's going to be too detrimental for the kids. It's just too hard.
Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into grown-up life.
There is a hook in me. One that you cannot see. But it is there. And you think I have a choice? There is no choice.
Hard work looks horrible. It's not motivating. It's not motivating at all. It ain't like Rocky round 14 where he gets knocked down and goes like this to Apollo Creed. It looks like a man being stuck in a dungeon and there's no way out. But you have the key. But you refuse to use it. And that's nothing motivating about that.
Some of y'all are motivated by broke. I'm broke, I'm stuck, I'm f***ed up, I can't do nothing. Some of y'all are motivated by just wanting to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Other folks are motivated by materialistic things. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
It's all in your mind. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as you have always acted. You will continue to get what you have always gotten. If you want different results in your life or your work, all you have to do is change your mind.
It's not that simple.
Why not?
No, that's the biggest lie I was ever told. And it's a lie they tell you over and over again.
What's not simple?
Any of it. All of it. It's how they get you to give up. They say it's not that simple, Vinny.
So what's the truth?
That it is. And you realize it is that simple. That it always was.
How it's so hard to see the good if you're only seeing the bad. Like, there's so many people that struggle with what their version of success is because they're looking at someone else's. There's so many people that struggle with their world of relationship because they're judging theirs based off of someone else's, right? And when you're constantly in the space of not realizing or noticing your world, your reality, because you're living in what appears to be someone else's, well, your is never gonna be right. It's never gonna be right.
We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger. We were never satisfied, never finished, will never be retired. My high school English teacher, Mr. Fisk, I actually paid attention one time in class, and he said, he had this beautiful quote, and it read, "Rest at the end, not in the middle."
And I'm telling you, that you don't need to determine. I'm telling you it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you it is worth it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You actually know it's worth it. That's why you're asking this question. You know it's worth it. You know it's worth it to have discipline, but you think there's an easier way. Yeah. You think that it's something that people have. You think that when Jocko's alarm clock goes off, it's like, oh, just like my father taught me, I rise and I shine. You know, like, no. It's like the pillow feels soft and comfortable.
Yeah.
And the alarm clock is banging on my head and I don't like it. But you know what? I know it's worth it to get up and get after it. I know it's worth it, and you know it's worth it.
Here's the thing, though.
We all know it's worth it.
If you're trying to do something meaningful, if you don't have the mindset that you're the best ever, you failed already. So if you don't have the mindset that you are the best reporter ever, then you already failed. And that's been my mindset since I can remember. That will be my mindset as long as I can remember anything, that I am the best ever at what I do. And every day that I step on the basketball floor, I will strive to be that. But my mindset will always be as such, as I am the best to do what I do. And that'll give me a shot at being the best.
I'm tired. I'm moving in slow motion, but I need to go to the gym and dumbbell press 150-pound dumbbells. Like, how does that translate? My mind doesn't think I can do it. I'm severely underestimating my strength that I can't pick this can up. But when I get to the gym, I need to overpower my mind and just do it. I need to understand that I still have the muscle, I still have the strength. I'm just being a lazy little right now, and I need to pick up that weight and do it and overpower it. And sometimes when you're getting in there and you're overthinking and all these things come in too much of like, I have to do this, this, and this, I have to do a 4-second negative. Oh my God, that's going to be so hard. I should drop the weight. Then, like, no, just get in there, know what you can do, bust your ass, and get out of there.
Yeah.
And sometimes overthinking it holds you back.
But just like success, no matter what field or whatever endeavor you are, and success, whether it's in the gym here, if it's in business, or whatever success is, the underlying quality of that life runs parallel to a commitment. They go hand in hand, guys. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how much success you have. Well, the overall quality of life is that journey, the struggle of it. And that journey and that struggle is successful only when the commitment rises equally to the effort. And nothing given to you is ever valued. It's what's earned its value that you can build from.
That most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. And I've been that guy. You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous, and most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation almost every time. It's hell.
I'm a big fan of power follows the blame finger. So like wherever you point the blame finger is where the power follows. And so it's like if you point it at the government has the power. If you point it at your spouse and say like it's their fault that I'm not in shape, it's their fault, they never let me do anything, it's like, well, you're giving them all the power. And so it's like until you're like it's my fault, it also becomes my responsibility. What is?
What if it's not your fault?
It doesn't matter. And like I can't run marathons because I lost my leg at birth. And either you can just never try, or you put the metal thing on and you do it anyways.
Whatever you do, you've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that. That's why I don't know about nothing else. I do not pay attention to nothing else. There was games of football on yesterday, there was rugby, there was this, there was that. And like normal society is like, let's talk about this and let's engage in this. And I can't do it. I just don't, people are talking to me and in my head I'm counting something. I'm counting up a number, or I'm knee deep in a sequence on the mat or on the feet. That's my life, sequences and numbers, nothing else. I cannot pay attention to nothing else.
Life isn't fair at all. At all. So what are you gonna do about it? I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one was gonna miracle me to be somebody special. So, mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. We are all underdogs in life. Even the baddest person in the world should think that way. So you should always have I've never arrived mentality. And the can't hurt me mentality is no matter where you come from, the sewer or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me. Nothing should be able to hurt you. If you believe that, it starts to become true.
Every single morning, if you can't get out of your beds and you choose not to win, you listen to your feelings. If you chose to get out of bed and you said, there's a win for me, that's your mind. And each one of those individuals, you decide who gets a vote. And some days, not all the popular things are going to get a vote. Success may not get a vote. Winning may not get a vote. But you've made that decision that now this thing gets a vote. I must be ready to deal with it.
If you're talking about beating everybody else on the planet to a thing, what you're actually talking about is what are you prepared to sacrifice psychologically, physically, existentially, relationally, socially, in terms of your self-esteem, your confidence, everything, right? All of that. Because if there's even a part of you that's thinking, well, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to balance it because I want to feel satisfied, I want to feel comfortable with myself, and so on and so forth. That's fine for as long as it contributes to your performance within the domain that you're competing in. But as soon as you sacrifice any output in that, that's just an opening for somebody else that's the competitor that's going to come in and get it.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to, like, what are you willing to sacrifice at the end of the day, you know?
But most importantly, man, you gotta look at things and say, like, at a certain point, like, eliminate the outcome. Stop being driven by rewards. Stop being driven by outcomes. Stop being driven by, if I get this, I'm gonna do this. Just work. And if you don't get what you thought you were gonna get, show up and still go to work. Because along the process, what's more important, what you acquire or who you become? And a lot of people think what they acquire is the thing that makes them who they are. No, it's who you become in the process of chasing what you want to acquire, right? Change expectation for appreciation. Extract the lessons and the blessings from the situations that didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out. But most importantly, man, approach it and eliminate the outcome, right? Just go for it, work, go to work.
When you feel that pressure inside of you and it's very heavy, like weather that's very, heavy and thick, you're motivated, you feel it. I've got to get up in the morning. I've got to do this. I've got to accomplish this. When that pressure goes away and you don't feel any pressure in your life, you can do anything and there's no consequences for it. You'll just waste time. You'll waste years. You'll waste months. You'll never accomplish anything. You give somebody a deadline, right? They'll accomplish in 2 months what it would take somebody 2 years to do without a deadline. It's that necessity. It's that sense of there's a sword at my back. I've got to get it done. It makes you get things done. It gives you the energy. get rich or die trying, to quote somebody.
The moment I did it, I was like, wow, that took way less time than I thought it was going to take. And not only that, it took way less time than it took me to delay to actually get to this point. And if I had only started with just doing what I was supposed to do, I could have done 4 or 5 other things that I was also supposed to do by this exact same point. And so thinking about it from that perspective, I've tried to eliminate as much time between I think I should do this thing and beginning doing it. And I think you get this positive reinforcement cycle that occurs every time you start. I call it pulling the thread. It's like, I just need to start pulling the thread. And then all of a sudden what feels really unknown becomes very tangible. And you're like, oh, I understand the 6 problems I have to solve to do this big thing. But now I know the problems, and then it feels like you can wrap your arms around it, and then you can start taking it one bite at a time.
You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that it's possible, because you can create your reality. The perception that you have of the world, if you think there's only scarcity, there's no opportunity, that's how you are going to interact with reality. If you think that there's abundance, if you think that there's opportunity, then these things will manifest themselves to you. So you have to believe that you can, right? And the way that you believe and the way that you can get to that state, because a lot of people are like, I have a lot of doubt. So do I. I have it all the time. Even if at these levels, right? You're doing 7-figure months. Dude, there's people doing 8-figure months. That's hard to fathom. That's hard to imagine. Yeah. But it's still possible. Yeah, of course. Is it difficult? Absolutely. But it's a mindset shift. So it's a mindset shift, 1 of, hey, it's possible. 2, it's an abundance mindset. You can either have a delusion of scarcity, which most people are like, hey, it's not possible, or this is not a reality. And I get it. You have to have a delusional mindset. Yeah. You have to be so far out there to believe that it's possible.
If you're going to do it, do it. Say what you can do. Do what you say. You can't do it, don't say you can do it. Don't over-leverage yourself. Don't over-leverage a decision and then jump in and kind of dip a toe. I think I'll try it out. No, think if you're going to try it out beforehand, but when it's time to go, dive. Finish it, find out. Come out the other side. Don't leave it and go, if I just would have, That keeps me up at night. I think it keeps a lot of us up at night. And you half-ass something and you just don't know. Whether you failed or succeeded, got what you want or didn't get what you want. Finding out and looking in the mirror and going, I didn't half-ass it. I went all the way. I found out, and that ain't for me. Or I found out, and you damn right that is for me. That's a great place to get to. But the limbo of not knowing, if you half-ass something, the limbo of going, I hedged my bet.
What could have happened?
You don't know.
So it's like if you were playing a video game and the way to win the game was to make the most successful character, right? You would have probably a really character-driven human being in terms of like, they'd be patient, they'd be hardworking. Like you think about all these traits that they would have, right? They'd probably be tough emotionally, like, etc. All right, cool. That's the character. And that's the person who's going to be really successful. We can all probably agree on that. Okay, how do you create someone who's patient? How do you create someone who's tough? How do you create someone who, right? So all of a sudden, if we had to then engineer the game in order to boost those points, we'd have to get them beat up a lot so that they could get tough. We'd have to make them wait a long time so they could become patient. That's right. And so to the point that you made about like these people who become really successful have these traits and also share the fact that they've been through all this shit. It's like, well, they got the trait from the shit, and then the trait was the ultimate output of the experience, and that trait then made them super successful that they didn't have earlier.
And my 3 questions are, what do you want? How badly do you want it? And how much are you willing to suffer? And very often, everything revolves around the first question, what do you want? Because a lot of people are unclear what they want from life. They don't sit down and think through. We are writing our own life story every day, and yet we don't think about it. Who do we want to be? Where do we want to live? What life do we want to lead? When we've finished our life, come to the end of our life and look back, what do we want to say that we've done? So, what do you want is a very powerful question. And then, if an athlete says, I want to be the best, Bill, fine. How badly do you want it? Because you've got to pay a price to be the best. The best pay a big price. You've got to work harder, you've got to commit more, you've got to take more responsibility, you've got to deal with more ups and downs.
You're praying for change,
and your life just starts falling apart, unraveling at the seams. Everything around you, your relationships, your job, it all goes away. The money in your bank account, it all goes away. And you look up and you go, God, what the f-? God's like, dude, you asked for change. You asked for a new life. We can't go on in this environment that you're living in. We have to change the environment. We have to obliterate everything that stands and start new. Because the foundation has to be rebuilt of what you're asking for. And if you're able to stay in it, because that's the ultimate yoga right there. That's the yoga of life, is are you able to maintain peace in the midst of that chaos, maintain focus, concentration, trust, and faith. You can either have faith or be in total fear looking into the unknown. Either one. It's on the precipice of the unknown. You have to either have faith and trust that when you let go, God's going to provide you with the next thing. Or you're in total fear and you never go anywhere and you never see what's on the other side of that thing.
The next year is going to go by whether you're doing something about your life or not. The next 10 months are going to go by whether somebody is working to make change or whether they're not. And they may think, oh my God, I'm so far overweight, I'll never get it under control, or I'm so behind in my bills, or I'm so, just depressed. Well, you know what? You make those incremental changes, and then, pretty soon in December you go, hey, I'm way better off than I was at the end of February. So you made little changes and they all added up. And if you don't, by the end of the year, you're just in deeper. So every little bit matters. The difference between a dream and a goal is a timeline and accountability.
Yeah, accountability is gigantic.
You got to have somebody, whether it's yourself or a friend or somebody that's going to say, look, did you do what you said you were going to do by this time? And if you don't, hold your feet to the fire. Because, just sitting around dreaming someday, someday I'm going to get a different job. Someday I'm going to change this. Well, someday ain't a day of the week. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look on your calendar. Some days not on there. So you got to say, okay, I'm going to take this small step by here, this small step by there, this small step by there. And then pretty soon, we don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. We take it a floor at a time.
People only root for people who don't need it. Like the amount of times when I was on my lonely path where I was too different from the friends that I had, but not successful enough to be friends with the people that I wanted to be friends with. That's when you want people to root for you. That's when you want people to support you. Once you've already won, people are like, he's amazing, he's so good. But that's the time when you need it the least. And so you always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you. And that visual, I think, is one that you can kind of take, because it is, people struggle to do things alone. And the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people. And rather than fighting that or bemoaning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place, because it means you're just like everyone else, and that's not where you want to be.
You have to take full responsibility for everything that you do. Why be subservient? You must be the master of your own kingdom. There needs to be some period in your day where you remember that there's a world out there trying to tell you who you are, and there's a world in here that's trying to tell you who you are. Now, where do you want to put your eggs? Because the world outside is very noisy and very tempting, and it has all the razzmatazz, it has all the tinsel and all the glitter. It's got all the toys. But that's because you don't think you're enough in the first place. If you don't think you're enough in the first place, the whole idea of the world to sell you stuff is, first of all, they have to make you feel bad about yourself, less than in some way. And I don't resent this system, by the way. It is the system. But what's the expression about don't hate the player, hate the game? Don't hate the game. Love the game because you're in it, mate. So own the game, accept the rules, and move on into the rules. So the world will try and tell you who you are, and you have to tell yourself who you are. And there's this ongoing battle. And somehow there needs to be a reconciliation between the two. But in the end, you've got to have all the eggs in your basket.
But where do you go to? You wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no cartilage in your knee, you've got shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today.
Keep talking.
You've got these problems, right?
I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch. Your missus says stay in bed. It's comfy, it's cozy. You've got work later on. You had an argument last night. You're slightly hungover.
Because I know everybody ain't going to do what I'm going to do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me happy what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely.
When you give it your all and you're willing to give up that, put all your will, all your effort, and look past the temporary pain of it to what that pain will dry and solidify into later, as this being the down payment for the future investment to come. We're willing to sacrifice this now for the belief of what tomorrow can be. You know, you must hope and believe in yourself if you ever want to see what that hope can turn into, what that belief can turn into. By doing this every day, repetitively, those are the measures that lead to the big moments of success that everyone sees in life. No one sees the struggle in here. No one sees the hardship, the early mornings you get up. No one sees any of that. They just see if your hand's raised or not. And if it is, oh, what a great guy. Oh, I wish I could be that guy. I wish I could be that guy. But they're not clapping, wishing they could be you at 5 in the morning when you get out of bed, when it's pissing rain outside, to come and train for that hand to be raised. They don't want to be that guy. They just want the glory. And that's the differential of a champion.
People are driven way more by fear of insufficiency than they are with some well-balanced, perfect desire to just maximize their greatness in life. Like, the activation energy for almost everybody is, I'm scared I might be a piece of shit. What? Hang on. Oh God, I might be a piece of shit. I genuinely might be a piece of shit. I need to go and do something so outrageous that I can't be a piece of shit. There's no way that it could happen. I might be a coward. Oh my God, what can I do to stop myself from being a coward? That's the activation energy.
It's funny because if you regress fear to its most basic form, it's death. And death is the greatest motivator. And like, you can prove it in a simple example. It's like if I all of a sudden go up to anybody on the street and I put a gun in their head and I say, you know, point a gun at their head and I say, go do this thing, they'll go do it. But if I say, you can have anything you want if you do this, they're willing to go 10 times harder with a gun in their face to not die. And so if you take fear and regress it all the way down to its basest form, like, that's what the insecurity is. Like, if they think I won't be enough, and if they don't think I won't be enough, then this won't happen. If this won't happen, this won't happen, I'll be alone and I'll be dead. Right? Like, if you just regress it all the way down, like, that's all it is. And so, like, the biggest achievers in life, I think, have most directly tied them not doing whatever it is that they want to do to death, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. And then that's what motivates them harder.
Here's what I know. I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what? I know I don't feel great. I know I doubt myself. I know I've had a lot of bad things happen. I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You can just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
I was in the military. We go on these instructor-led runs. Most of the time we knew the start and end point. So on the way back, I started seeing people getting happy and because the end was near. But there were some asshole instructors that would hear the happiness and go right on past the end point. When that happened, everybody stopped talking. Heads would start dropping. And I started taking goals. At that time, I knew what happened in their minds. They were living off the hope factor. They hoped the instructors would stop running. They hoped the water was never cold. They hoped the weather was good. I don't live off that hope shit. I wish the water was cold. I wish the instructors keep on running. I wish for rain. When the ending is unknown and the distance is unknown, that's when you know who the you are. Stay hard.
You know, sometimes we are so worried about what other people think about us. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, what if they think I'm crazy? What if they think I'm over obsessive or competitive? And what if this is like, you're too much. This is just not healthy for you to be thinking this way, right?
Yeah.
How did you get your mindset into this alter ego to be comfortable being Black Mamba? Like, how did that happen?
It's a good separation for me, you know, emotionally, to be able to put myself in a place where at practice, when I'm training or during games, I switch my mind to something else. I switch my mode into something else, right? For me, it's the equivalent of Maximus, Decimus Meridius, and Gladiator picking up the dirt, smelling the dirt. It's go time, right? So that was my mental switch. It was like an actor getting ready for a film. You gotta put yourself in that cage. When you're in that cage, you are that character. And then when you leave there, it's something completely different. But when I'm in that cage, bro, don't touch me, don't talk to me.
If I could go back, I'd tell younger me, you're going to do some pretty great things, but you do not need to be great. All you have to do is be yourself. That will always be enough. What's that mean to you?
You know, I've had a lot of different thoughts that have come into my mind now having a child. When Courtney was pregnant, thinking about raising a child, myself when I was a child, and all these things. And I think I always felt like I wanted to be good at everything I did and be great at what I did. And I never expected to be as good as I was. So it would just be such an interesting relief to be able to give myself to be like, you are going to be great. You're going to have all these things that you want, but you're also going to realize that they're not as important as you think they are. You know, like, you're going to come to the realization where the relationships and your values and everything that you enjoy and the experiences of everything aren't going to come down to those spectacular moments on stage at the Olympia. They're going to be much more simpler than that. They're just going to be those moments where you're being yourself.
And so if you tell young men, look, you're going to find the meaning in your life by adopting maximal responsibility. Right, that's going to be extremely difficult because you're so bloody useless. You can't even get your own house in order. And you're going to be called upon not only to get your house in order, but to do that well enough so some woman can stand having you around for more than like 15 minutes in the back of a car. And then maybe you're going to have to do it so that you could be a good father to a family and a pillar of the community. And that's not just empty words. Like, if you do that nobly, there'll be something to you. And then when the storms come, you won't be blown over by the first 4-foot wave.
I found out through this path of life, who is David Goggins? Who am I? So going through all, I did it alone. There was no trophy on the wall, on the mantle. That trophy's in my brain. No one helped me get there. No one paid my bills. No one did shit for me. No one ran those miles, lost that weight, went through it. I suffered on my own and developed this man who said, it's who I am, man.
That's important, man. And most people struggle their whole life to find out who they are. Struggle their whole life to find out what defines them, what they actually enjoy and what they don't.
You start putting yourself in situations that suck, you'll find yourself.
Yeah.
You'll find it real quick.
That is the thing, right? And that's one of the things that I've gotten from paying attention to you is that you what you're preaching, what you're talking about is finding yourself through struggle.
That's it.
Just keep stacking days.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep stacking days. As long as you keep stacking days, I promise you, you will see the change. But my coach used to always say, everything that you want is on the other side of hard. Right? He had another, I think I said in the book, he said, reps removed out, right? Reps removed out. My biggest frustration with my son used to be, we would go outside at the house and he would shoot a shot and he'd be mad. He'd be like, dang. We're like, what you mad for? You don't get up enough reps, you know, so.
Those are the only things you can control anyway.
Yep.
Your effort and the consistency of your effort, right?
Yep.
There's a quote in the book that I love, which is, hard work is my preferred language and I try to speak it fluently. Like, that's great. Yeah.
So what I encourage any and everybody to do is just understand who you are. Truly understand who you are. Learn yourself.
Yeah.
Learn yourself. Learn your pros and your cons. Get your flaws. Get them out the way, but with you, not to nobody else. This is a you and you thing. Of the shit that you know you need to work on. And I'm telling you, people, when you really look yourself in the mirror and you start to pick yourself apart by yourself, there's only room for improvement. It's easy to ignore your
It's never gonna make you feel good if you're leaving it on the table. If you're not exercising your potential, if you don't have a purpose, you don't have a mission, the reason you feel like is because you know that you're letting your potential die on the vine. You're letting your potential go to waste. And that is an underlying condition that's causing you this anxiety, causing you this stress, causing you this uncomfortable place. But the reality is you need to solve the underlying problem. And the underlying problem is you're not exercising your potential. And for that reason, you feel like shit. That's it.